If you've ever recorded an acoustic guitar in the studio with a nice mic on it, it can sound beautiful. But then when you go to play it live and it plugs into a DI, it can sound awful. So here's some hacks that I've picked up on how to make your acoustic guitar sound better live, even if it doesn't sound all that great plugged in to begin with. If you've ever tried to use a microphone on a guitar in a live situation, you know you're just begging for a lot of noise and the potential for feedback. It's just a really quiet instrument on a stage where there's probably not a lot of other quiet instruments. Most stuff is pretty loud. And even if that's not the problem, the PA itself needs to be loud, and now we're turning into a noise or feedback situation. So on a scale from, just keep that muted, to, oh wow, that sounds really good, how do we move our tone this way? Today I'm going to show you a few hacks that are going to make your acoustic guitar tone sound better live. So if you're an acoustic guitar player or just an audio engineer that wants to take less pain medication, you're in the right place. Go ahead and mash that subscribe button. Of course, I have to tell you that a great guitar with a great pickup inside it is a great starting place. And so anytime that you can put the right amount of money into your guitar to make it sound better when it's plugged in, that's going to get you the best mileage and the best bang for your buck. Some of the ones that I've enjoyed the most right off the bat are the LR Baggs Lyric or Anthem pickups. And I've even heard contact microphones that sound really good. So those are some options for you to try if you're considering upgrading, and you can put some resources into making your acoustic guitar sound better right when you plug it in. Undersaddle pickups that use a piezo or piezo, or however you say it, I'll probably bounce back and forth in this video, those tend to sound pretty tinny. And even if you've got a preamp on board or you've got some EQ controls built into your guitar, they're still not always that awesome. And that brings us to our first hack. Use an IR loader pedal to try to get some more realism and ambience out of your guitar's signal. It adds back in some more of the resonance and realism that you might get from a mic in front of an acoustic guitar. So there are more hacks in addition to this. So if you're like, oh yeah, I know all about IRs, well, check the timestamps in the description, you can skip ahead. IR is an abbreviation for impulse response. Basically, it takes the way that a certain guitar and microphone combination resonates, and it overlays that on the signal that you're already playing through your guitar. So it's not a modeler per se, or it's not gonna make your guitar sound like a different guitar, as much as it's gonna make your guitar sound like a more resonant version of your guitar. There are a bunch of them out there to choose from, and the ones that I found are from worshiptutorials.com. You can get an impulse response pedal pretty cheap that you can load impulse responses from your computer into the pedal itself, and I'll put the link to those down in the description below. For this example, I'm using my Strat with an LR Baggs X bridge in it, which has piezo or piezo pickups under each of the saddles. So as far as acoustic guitar tone is concerned, it's pretty much as bad as you can get it. For my impulse response and pedal, I'm using my Boss IR200 and an impulse response that I bought from worshiptutorials.com. By the way, this video isn't sponsored at all, so if you like that, go ahead and mash that thumbs up. The next hack that I'll show you is to use a very short reverb time and set it to 100% wet, or set the ambience levels up at 100%. This reverb time is at 1/10 of a second, and I turned the tone all the way down to make it a little bit darker. I don't want a whole lot of high frequencies in this ambience, so I just turned down the tone. you're the sound tech and you're having to fix things with the reverb on the board rather than a pedal on stage, here's how you do it. If your console allows it, insert a reverb onto your channel and set the mix to 100%. Again, we're going to keep our reverb time very short, and we're just trying to get the early reflections or the little bit of resonance out of that guitar that's missing from having a pickup attached directly to the soundboard or under the bridge. You can play around with the tone and EQ on the reverb unit itself, or you can EQ the effect after it's come back into the channel. You'll need to check into your console's signal flow to see if your EQ is before or after the insert, or even if you can change that so that you can EQ the return, because sometimes the reverb unit has its own special resonances that may or may not work well for that acoustic guitar. Another cool thing is to check out the early reflections, which make it feel like it's more in a room rather than just resonating for a little while. Now on my PreSonus Studio Live Series 3 console, you can't insert a reverb effect into a channel path, very easily at least. So the way that I did it is I sent it to the reverb post-fader, and I unassigned my channel fader to the main bus. That way, the Reverb Return becomes my acoustic guitar level, and since it's post-fader, all my channel fader movements are still reflected with the reverb. I understand that's a little bit complicated, but if it was easy, they wouldn't need us. So hopefully these hacks are going to help you to push up your acoustic guitar and not feel embarrassed at the tone. But who am I kidding? Nobody's coming to your show and is going to think you're embarrassing if the acoustic guitar doesn't sound good. And remember, a lot of times in a big mix, the acoustic guitar kind of turns into a hi-hat with chords, so don't stress out about it too much. But the real issue is that you're trying to make your musicians know and have confidence that you're helping them put their best foot forward. So any tricks or hacks that you do, be sure to share it with your instrumentalist, because they need to know what improvements you're making that shows that you care, and maybe that they need to invest a little bit more money into their setup. So if you're in a band or you love helping bands take their sound up a notch, go ahead and hit subscribe and mash that thumbs up for this video. If you want to learn how to practice with a virtual sound check and grow in your audio skills, you can sign up for my free virtual sound check challenge. You can find information through the link down in the description below. As always, remember, it's all about the low end, avoid the sound tech solo, and nobody leaves humming the kick drum. We'll see you back here next time on Attaway Audio.